After death, holiness, searching for meaning in a difficult double Torah portion. The joke has often been told that commas save lives. Let's eat grandma indicates that she would be good to eat, whereas let's eat grandma conveys it would be good to eat with her. Similar punctuation possibilities are at play with this week's Torah portion, Acharei Mot Kedoshim. In regular Hebrew calendar years like this one, the two Torah portions are read together. In leap years, we have more Sabbaths to work with, so they are read separately. Normally, we would think about coupling them with a dash or a slash, Acharei Mot meaning after the death, Leviticus 16 through 18, and Kedoshim meaning holiness, Leviticus 19 through 20. But what if we played with the punctuation and replaced the slash or dash with a question mark? After death, holiness? Or, to frame the question more fully, after these deaths, can we be holy? The death or deaths which Torah is referring to are those of Aaron's two sons, Nadav and Abihu, who perish under tragic circumstances. The material between these horrific deaths and the opening of Acharei Mot, describing the procedures for the Yom Kippur offerings, deal with the people of Israel and its priests coping with leprosy and the fear that it could reach epidemic proportions. The text has not made direct mention of Nadav and Abihu for 6 chapters. But now, before Aaron can return to his task as high priest, the narrative reminds us of their deaths, as if we might have forgotten, and Moses tells Aaron that he cannot enter the inner shrine of the tabernacle unsummoned, lest he die. He must bathe, wear the required garments, and make sacrifices for himself, his family, before he can offer the atonement offerings for the people of Israel. Like today's doctors, nurses, and medics, he cannot rush right into his work, critical though it is. There is a process, and there are procedures to follow. Like all of us, it is difficult for Aaron to know where the boundaries between the personal and the professional realm lie. He trained his sons to be priests. They died doing what they thought was their duty as priests. They perished in the very tents in which Aaron is supposed to do his sacred work. How is he supposed to find holiness amidst all this? After these terrible deaths, how can the Holy of Holies still be holy to him? Again, Aaron is not alone in this. Women give birth in the same hospitals in which they have lost pregnancies or where another family member has died. People rejoice and weep at the same congregation, the same school, the same office, the same setting they have known for years. Sammy Rachamim, a brilliant student of mine at the Minneapolis Jewish Day School, and other family members still had to go in and out of the same family signage business where a recently fired worker with severe mental illness had murdered Sammy's father, several employees, and a delivery worker. When we hear about our friends and neighbors having to curtail how they mourn during this epidemic, one thinks of Aaron and the limits on mourning practices he and members of his family faced during the deaths of Nadav and Abihu. Moses said to Aaron and his remaining sons, Eleazar and Itamar, "Do not bare your heads and do not rend your clothes, lest you die and anger strike the whole community." So many of us have friends who have lost someone recently and could not attend a funeral, burial, or Shiva minyan. It takes tremendous discipline and a determination to put concern for others over our desire to do as we normally would to handle these circumstances appropriately. Many colleagues have commented that despite the limitations of social distancing, people have been grateful for memorials and Shiva minions online. With the destruction of the temple, we Jews do not have a high priest. And here in the United States, we do not have a chief rabbi, as other nations do. Our Union of Reform Judaism, however, does have a president, Rabbi Rick Jacobs, and he, like so many others among us, has just lost a parent, his mother, Suki. Rabbi Jacobs wrote, "While she did not die of coronavirus, the global pandemic disrupts how we and countless others can mourn. I am not able to physically lay her to rest, but we will have a Zoom funeral for our family only. We invite our wider circle of friends to join us for a minyan, also via Zoom." Just as Aaron did, Rabbi Jacobs and others have had to live with the double injury of losing a loved one and not being able to grieve in the manner they fully expected that they could. Yet, they have accepted these restrictions with grace, fortitude, and responsibility. They have found holiness after these deaths, sanctity in mourning, despite the severe limitations of social distancing. So it is dismaying that Mayor Bill de Blasio of New York has been accused of signaling out the Jewish community for breaking up a dangerously crowded funeral procession. The mayor is doing his job. Contrary to popular belief, anti-Semitism is not defined by the act of criticizing Jews. If that were true, few people would be more anti-Semitic than the Jews. Anti-Semitism is marked by bullying, threatening, harassing, attacking, and maligning Jews, not because of what we do or fail to do, but because we are Jewish. Mayor de Blasio is condemning behavior of specific Jews engaged in a specific activity, not all Jews. Rabbi Jacobs and countless others have found a way to mourn within the limits set by state and local authorities. Those who do otherwise should hardly be shocked when authorities criticize them. Indeed, the book of Leviticus teaches, "You shall surely rebuke your neighbor for wrongdoing." It does not say, rebuke all neighbors for wrongdoing, except the Jews. We ask our fellow Jews not to hide their embarrassment and resentment at being criticized behind insinuations of anti-Semitism. It is a serious accusation. If and when we make it, let's be sure we consider the implications carefully. Kiddushim, the second half of our Torah portion, concerns itself not with sacrifices in the priesthood, but with all elements of life. "You shall be holy, for I, the eternal your God, am holy. You shall revere, each of you, his mother and father, and keep my Sabbaths. I am the eternal. When you reap the harvest of your land, you shall not reap all the way to the edges of your field, or gather the gleanings of your harvest. You shall not pick your vineyard bare, or gather the fallen fruit of your vineyard. You shall leave them for the poor and the stranger. I, the eternal, am your God. You shall not steal. You shall not deal deceitfully or falsely with one another. You shall not swear falsely by my name, profaning the name of your God. I am the eternal. You shall not defraud your fellow. You shall not commit robbery. The wages of a laborer shall not remain with you until morning. You shall not insult the deaf or place a stumbling block before the blind. You shall fear your God. I am the eternal. You shall not render an unfair decision. Do not favor the poor or show deference to the rich. Judge your kinsmen fairly. Do not deal basely with your countrymen. Do not profit by the blood of your fellow. I am the Eternal. You shall not hate your kinsfolk in your heart. Reprove your kinsmen, but incur no guilt because of them. You shall not take vengeance or bear a grudge. Love your fellow as yourself. I am the Eternal. All these things and more are essential to holiness. Every aspect of life is included here. Holiness informs how we treat family members, how we allocate resources, how we administer justice, how we regard the disabled, how we invest our time and money, how we respond to poverty, how we manage our emotions. The poem Footnote to Howl by the late American Jewish poet Allen Ginsberg is his own personal re-articulation of the Kedusha, the sanctification, the prayer proclaiming God's holiness we recite each day. In it he proclaims, the world is holy, the soul is holy, everything is holy, everybody's holy, holy is everywhere, every day is an eternity, every man's an angel, the typewriter is holy, the poem is holy, the voice is holy, the hearers are holy, the ecstasy is holy, holy the unknown and suffering beggars, holy the hideous human angels, holy the groaning saxophone, holy the solitudes of skyscrapers and pavements, holy the cafeterias filled with the millions, holy the mysterious rivers of tears under the streets. Holy the lone juggernaut, holy the vast lamb of the middle class, holy the crazy shepherds of the rebellion. Holy New York, holy San Francisco, holy Peoria and Seattle, holy Paris, holy Tangiers, holy Moscow, holy Istanbul. Holy time in eternity, holy eternity in time. Holy the clocks in the space, holy the fourth dimension. Holy the sea, holy the desert, holy the railroad, holy the locomotive, holy the visions, holy the hallucinations, holy the miracles, holy the eyeball, holy the abyss. Holy forgiveness, mercy, charity, faith, holy hours, bodies, suffering, magnanimity, holy the supernatural, extra brilliant, intelligent kindness of the soul. Not only is holiness possible amidst poverty, death, disease, and despair, holiness, as Ginsberg and Leviticus teach us, can and must be practiced in the midst of all these things. Holiness has not left us, has not abandoned us, has not forgotten us. The question is, can we remember? Will we remember? Will we choose to practice holiness? May our love for one another, our refusal to succumb to the irrational, our insistence on thoughtfulness, gentleness, and holiness guide us through these difficult days. May this be our blessing, and let us say together, Amen. Shabbat Shalom.